I was the shop superintendent for the heavy equipment shop. We had 7 guys in the shop. When we got there, we had, I think there were 6 work orders in our box, and within a week there were 28. And so it was just boom, slammed with work right away. Everything we did was supporting somebody else's missions. The 732nd engineers, they were actually tasked with one of the things that they did was they went downtown Baghdad and picked up dead bodies. And they were living over on an army camp, you know, in the BBC, but they were promised that they'd get moved onto the Air Force base. And so we started the project to build that bed down area for those folks. And, you know, they had a pretty crappy mission, and so we were just happy to, you know, try to make their lives a little better.
I am extremely pleased to proclaim today, January 16, 2007, as Happy Hooligans Day in the great state of North Dakota. Way to go, hooligans! Congratulations! Today is the 60th anniversary of the North Dakota National Guard. We're here to thank and to recognize all who flew and supported the F-16 mission for so many years, since 1990. Incredible performance. Truly the best of the best.
What a historic day. On this day, exactly 60 years to the day after our creation, we're going to formally end the F-16 fighter flying mission and move into these 2 new missions of operational support airlift on the way to the joint cargo mission and the unmanned aerial vehicles with the MQ-1 Predator. Both of these missions are on the leading edge of technology. This one, a bridge mission to the joint cargo aircraft. This one, an armed reconnaissance platform that will fly right here from Fargo, anywhere in the world. Gentlemen, it's step time.
I was kind of notified that in January of 2007, I guess, that the last 3 aircraft were leaving Fargo. So I thought it'd be neat to, being a flight line guy all my life, to park one of the last jets. So we kind of tried to line something up with AMARC, which is the boneyard there, come in there and you know, parking of a jet. When somebody asks where you're from, you always say the 119th Fighter Wing, and leaving out fighter, you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's just not right.
We were operating the raid system. It's a camera on top of the tower.
You see like 15 clicks night and day. Watch the ECP, convoys rolling out and in sometimes.
I think the unit did the mission to the best of their ability and beyond, actually. I mean, we did way more than just the raid. You know, all those soldiers did far more than that.
Well beyond.
And just did an incredible job.
We got hit with so much stuff. You know, we not only had our 9 cameras, we picked up 9 additional cameras, we picked up TAS, we picked up IR sensors, we picked up 3 ECPs, 2 were hospital walkthrough, 1 was a coalition vehicle entry gate. That's where we had to do our searches, searching vehicles. We did HIDE, which was identification of people, doing retina and facial scans. We did so much stuff, and sometimes you thought you were just being picked on, in a sense, because we were so few, but yet you're getting pushed into this. And the thing was, we did such a damn good job. And the Command Sergeant Major and Lieutenant Colonel Leary, Gladius 6, I mean, they were always right there. They were there pushing. They never pushed too hard. I mean, they were headstrong, but you know what? You went out and did the job, and you did it right. And that's why they keep coming back, because we did the job right every time.
Basically our own construction firms, I guess is the easiest way to put it, separated by just title.
And the mission we did, rebuilding, the reconstruction during battle is something that has not been done before. Kind of a new area, hadn't really been tried before. Normally, you know, aggressive operations are down before you start doing that. We were doing it right during battle.
Yeah, they looked at skill sets, looked at people's resumes, and tried to assign people that, you know, to jobs that looked like they'd be successful in. You know, based on how much engineer background you had, you know, what your technical skills were. That was basically how they assigned them to do.
There was some adjustment once we got on the ground, because we had people who were public works superintendents, and they'd put them in security. Probably not the best fit. So there was some last minute manipulation, and I'd say there was a handful of people who, even after we got to Iraq, were adjusted for where they were going to go and the duties they were going to be performing.
Our mission over there was supply fuel for all types of aircrafts, even the special forces on the other side of the ramp with their choppers. Well, 1 month's supply of fuel over there, we could fill 2,700 F-16s. Right away, right out of the gate, we broke the old all-time base record of fuel, which was like 100,000 gallons a day. So we went from 3 million gallons a month to 3.6 million gallons a month for records. And the surge happened sometime in late Feb, so that kicked our records up again, and I think we broke it one final time in March. I didn't look out for next week. I just had to get by today and get the trucks to pump fuel and get the guys to do their job. But now, with that, now we're still playing, I mean, real world. We had rockets and mortars, and we had to do our sweeps and flak jackets and hide underneath the desks, and that was a common occurrence 3 to 4 times a day.
Purifying water. Our first location was El Taquedum, TQ for short. We supported the 264th CSSB. We were purifying water for about 900 soldiers and Marines while we were there. We left there December of '07. We were reassigned to the 7th 87 CSSB up in Al Assad Air Base. By the time we left El Taquedum, we had purified 2.3 million gallons of water.
Water treatment.
For FOB or for COB?
We didn't know, they just said water treatment at the time. So.
And what did you guys actually do?
I was actually doing most of the maintenance paperwork and ordering parts and stuff like that.
Went as a mechanic, but I did a lot of water purification instead. So I didn't even do any mechanic work. That's just fine with me.
I thought we did an awesome job.
Really good job. Especially for the nightmare we walked into. You know, all that equipment wasn't exactly in the greatest shape, and we didn't know if anything was going to run, and so for what we were working with, we did, I thought, an excellent job.
And between the work of just doing our normal mission, making sure that we're producing enough water for the shower points and whatever at our remote sites, and then the maintenance nightmare of trying to get those things back to standard, I mean, when we got there, they were running just barely, and actually get them working reliably and get them refitted if necessary. And it was quite a task.
First part of the mission that we had, we were basically clearing the route from Balad down to Taji, and we were still finding IEDs, and there was a lot of traffic on there, and that was only for about the first 3 months. Then after that, we moved and started working for the 2nd Infantry Division units, infantry and cav, and we started clearing the whole western half of the Diyala province, specifically in and around Bakuba.
Being over there from the first deployment to this deployment and looking for IEDs and stuff like that, the first deployment again, this deployment, being as the first deployment we were looking for them, had an idea of what we were looking for, what sites would look like, dig sites, looking for command wire, looking for trigger men, stuff like that. It definitely played well into our advantage, and especially with the few guys that we had that were first deployment with us. So, we were able to bring them up to speed and keep them in safe, and we brought everybody back, so that's the most important thing.
Base security for the Victory Base complex.
We're at a checkpoint in 2 hours.
And I worked at the ECP, but my job was putting civilian Iraqis to work on the base. My job was to do biometrics screenings to see which Iraqis could work on the base and which couldn't. And I also worked with TCNs working on the base, contractors that needed workers in the DFAC or the PX. It was my job to make sure they got badged and they were safe to be on the base. So yeah, base security. I didn't work on the checkpoints, but I was still working with base security.
The entire battalion, we had a group that was doing QRF. We had a group doing area foot patrols. We had a group doing towers with us. And then they all had towers. They had more towers than us. We had 1 tower and we had 2 ECPs. We had the main ECP in Iraq, one of the main ones from MSR Tampa.
The actual mission we had over the whole battalion, HHC, we had security forces. We manned towers. We were in control of the entrance control point, 2 entrance control points. We also had operations for the whole battalion with our ADOC, keeping accountability for as far as the whole battalion for IDF, control of ECP situations, monitoring that. Also monitoring patrols that are outside the wire.
The position I signed up for was to lead a team of people that were going to establish all of the training for the Iraqi Air Force. I was the first guy on the ground of this team. The next day my deputy showed up, and over the course of the next 4 or 5 days a group of about a dozen people showed up, and we ended up over the course of the first month with about 35 people on the ground to build this program. The big picture goal was to get guys into pilot training. That's where we spent most of our energies, create officers, get them into pilot training, because if the Air Force doesn't have pilots, they can't fly, and the purpose of an Air Force is to fly missions. I said when I got there, they were flying 30 sorties a week. When I left, they were flying over 300.
Our mission was to conduct police transition training. We were supposed to teach the Iraqi police officers how to be police, kind of bring them up to speed in a modern way of doing things, but at the same time without disrupting the way they had already been doing things. We didn't want to completely turn things on their head so they would be completely confused, but we wanted to bring a new sense of professionalism and accountability and integrity.
and we trained the Iraqi police and monitored their stations and went on patrols with them to make sure they were a full functioning police station.
Been out on TCP mission, checkpoints, and that was a little different. I mean, we got to go out, interact with the people, do searches.
When we first got there, we only had limited exposure with the Iraqi police. We were dealing more with the Iraqi army. By the end, we were slowly getting to where we wanted to be with them, getting them out on checkpoints, doing some patrolling. It was Sadr City. It was its own unique location in Baghdad.
Basically, our responsibility was we were working right at the main gates, right off well, it was Clemson Road, which is one of the main roads in Kirkuk. And then later on, they had me. I became the NCOIC of the IMVACAS. It's a mobile scanning unit that scans the vehicles when they come on. And they had two of the guys from Fargo working with me on that. So, but basically, you get there, they scatter you to the wind, and you just drop in whatever shift that they put you. So
You're armed up, wearing your 50 to 70 pounds of gear, and you go to post. It's night, so things aren't as busy. I did entry control, so I was either at a gate on a mobile patrol or in a tower.
Worked in different sectors. I worked in Bravo sector, which was pretty much the entire west side of the base. Basically split from the runway, east and west. And we had one ECP, a gate that convoys could go in and out, and a lot of towers along the perimeter and mobile patrols. So I did all of that, and I also worked in the sector command post.
Our mission was to protect Jalalabad Airfield and make sure that there was no IEDs, threats, suicide bombers, and if we did see something that looked suspicious, report to hire and then send out a team from there to further investigate. We were just basically a little bit of eyes for the base, a pre-warn system.
With the raid camera, basically I've thought about how to describe it to people. Basically just came down to surveillance and intelligence, gathering and reporting.
Providing the air picture to the task force maneuver units, and also the raid system was supporting whatever the local unit was at the particular FOBs. Kind of give them an idea what so they can see outside the FOB is basically what it's for. Okay, well, the AMU is comprised of 25 of our maintainers, including myself and Chief Alden. And we have different specialists within it to maintain the jet, anywhere from E&E, avionics, engines, made up crew chiefs. Everybody does their part to help get everything done, whatever we needed to do. It was a smaller units, basically 11 or 10 people per shift. So it didn't matter what your AFSC was, everybody's helping out, launch jets, fixing jets, doing what it took to make sure that we made our AMU goal, which was meeting 100% of the ATO, which we did. We never missed an ATO tasking with the C-21, so we're proud of that.
The intent behind the battle group, though, is that it will be a much more agile, flexible force, so that if we are needed as a third responder to Kosovo Police and ULEX, we can respond anywhere in a rapid manner to help out those first and second responders.
Our mission is basically the eyes and ears for the general. We sit out here and talk to local populace and gather as much information that we can, or observe anything we can that can help the general in making decisions.
We are moving away from kinetic exercises in the theater, doing cordon searches and crowd and riot control. The requirement has just diminished, is what it amounts to. But the leader engagement, the ability to patrol in sector and engage the public and conduct tactical questioning and things that we need to do to fulfill our information requirements, I think paid great dividends.
To the families, we will never know fully the pain you have suffered and the anguish that you feel daily. We will, however, always be here for you, and we will always remember the service and the sacrifice that you and your loved ones made for this country. I thank everyone who made this memorial a reality. I'm especially grateful to the City of Bismarck for partnering with the North Dakota National Guard to develop such a beautiful and peaceful monument to our loved ones. May God bless the fallen and their families, and may God always bless America. We will never forget. Thank you.
Our main mission was VIP transport. We supported 2 one-star generals, a 2-star, and a sergeant major. And then we also did a general support mission set as well that covered the entire day.
The majority of what I did, I handled the night QRF for about 4 months until that went away. Then I was on general support. Once in a while a direct support mission for the remainder.
Doing the VIP missions, we had a high visibility of what we were doing. The missions that stick out in my head is there's missions that we had dignitaries from all over, from different countries, from Japan, the French ambassador, the English ambassador we worked with a lot, and we had a 5-ship mission that would go out to an oil rig just to check how the Iraqis were improving their oil industry in the Middle East.
One thing was the Iraqi Air Force coming in. They came in many a time and fueled. They had the I think they were the MI-8s or something like that. They were kind of like a hip aircraft. And they came in pretty often, I guess, during the Iraqi elections. They came in that 1-week span. And it was pretty cool helping those guys out, fueling them up, and seeing how they do business.
Probably just the importance of what we were doing and making sure that we were where we needed to be so that the generals we were supporting could do their job to a better extent.
We work with the Iraqi Special Forces to help get them acquainted with aviation by doing a few air assaults with them. So it was interesting and different.
You're helping out different segments coming through of aircraft. I mean, you had OH-58 Deltas coming through up from up north down to south. He had the Apaches coming through, providing security. He had Chinooks along with Blackhawks, moving soldiers and equipment around. And then, of course, the Iraqi Air Force, you're helping those guys out too. So I think that just it's a show of force, but also it's showing, hey, we can work together along with the Iraqis to help their country maintain sovereignty.
Just basic surveillance. You know, missions were out and they needed eyes on from the FOB. We try to find them and get them. That's just a camera system. It sits on a 107-foot tower. It's all controlled wirelessly to, we're a hand station. We can control and move the camera 360 degrees out to 22 kilometers. We had a big attack. Some of the insurgents tried to breach the perimeter, and we were working the camera at the time and got to see the whole thing go down.
Good evening. Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
I'm proud of you. I'm extremely proud of you. I know that you are all well trained. I know that you're very well experienced. And I know that we have strong leadership at all levels within the company. And just as the Congressman said, everyone in the North Dakota National Guard and everyone in the 188th Engineer Company is an empowered leader. And we have strong leadership at the senior level in the company. Both Captain Kletke and First Sergeant Binstock have deployed before, as have several others. And I know with that experience that you'll take care of those soldiers that serve under you and make sure that they perform their mission successfully and safely. And as far as each of the soldiers within the company, you all have a battle buddy. You all have someone that you're going to be spending time with literally 24 hours a day. And I ask you to take care of yourself as well as your battle buddy. Look out for each other. Make sure that when we come back here 12 months from now, we can have a tremendous celebration of the success and the safe mission of the 188th Engineer Company.
I'd like to recognize the soldiers of Task Force Aviation. Over the past year, they've conducted themselves in a professional manner and a positive attitude, and that has been the key to our success. They know their jobs, and they do their job very well. We completed the year successfully, and we truly appreciate your support. We'll move forward from here, knowing that we represent North Dakota, and we represent the North Dakota Army National Guard, the best of the best. Our professional conduct and our positive attitude will serve as the example for the other states joining us in our aviation task force, and they're coming from New Jersey, Wyoming, and Wisconsin. So that will lead to a safe and successful deployment for all 160 members of our aviation task force. And the North Dakota tradition of excellence is the key to that whole thing coming together.
But out of the darkness of that day, heroes emerged and goodwill persevered. First responders rushed into burning buildings, while ordinary citizens risked their own lives to save others. Service and sacrifice rose from the rubble of September 11. But that courageous and selfless service and sacrifice did not stop there. It was only the beginning for the men and women of our nation's military. Men and women who for 10 years have put their private lives on hold to defend our country and preserve our liberties. Men and women who have put themselves in harm's way to support the global war on terrorism and to protect the citizens of the United States. We owe them a debt of gratitude for their extraordinary service and for the sacrifices they have made on our behalf. But sadly, some have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, paying for our freedom with their lives. Patriots that we honor here today at the memorial to the fallen. 24 heroes who gave their lives so we can be free. 24 heroes who were willing to put it all on the line for a greater cause.
Today, I can report that, as promised, the rest of our troops in Iraq will come home by the end of the year.